Attorney Owens, what's your evaluation of MABS through the years? What's your assessment, and how was it implemented among rural banks by RBAP? How did it turn out?
Okay. Well, I think it's been a very successful partnership. It really shows the RBAP MABS program over the history, the last 15 years, really shows, I think, a world-class example of a public-private partnership where the U.S. government, of course, coming in with public funds, we're teaming with the private sector. And what we're seeing is that the rural banks have done a tremendous job of taking advantage of the technical assistance. And from the U.S. government standpoint, the rural banking sector was a perfect partner because of all that they were able to achieve with just a little bit of input. When you look back at what USAID had done in the past in trying to expand financial services, it was primarily through NGOs. The NGOs were only able to reach a very small number of people and required lots of money for lending capital, for operational costs. The rural banks, of course, already had their own premises, their own network, and so providing TA to help strengthen the rural banks and provide them with technical assistance to reach out further has really helped. I think, so from USAID's perspective, it's been very successful. From the bank's perspective too, I think it was a very good deal. I think we were able to demonstrate how bringing the banks together could really help to strengthen the bank's ability to reach out further and provide real financial inclusion to the Philippines.
Where would it go from here? How would it be? What's the future? What's the next step?
Okay. Well, the next step for the RBAP MABS program is basically to capitalize on what has been accomplished to date and to take things forward. I think the rural banks have now learned how to work together collectively in ways that were not practiced maybe 15 years ago. So today we have a much stronger industry. I think the association has been strengthened, and instead of just being a place where people got together occasionally for meetings, RBAP now has a very good training department, good training team, and I think we've learned it's a good mix. You don't need to have everybody in-house. We've learned, RBAP has learned to outsource training to third parties. So we have a lot of partnerships that RBAP has and that they can build on. So the trainings, the courses are all there. We're going to upload all of our information to the web, the internet, so it'll be available through RBAP's website. So all of our training, all of our learnings will all be there for rural banks to be able to download and make use of, as well as partners. We have a list of service providers. All of their names and all their backgrounds will be available on the website so that RBAP members can find out who to hire and what kind of advice they can use. RBAP can also source all the training from that group. You have private partnerships now with companies like the insurance companies, which, as I said, we've now strengthened the enabling environment, working with the regulators to allow banks to partner with insurance companies to better distribute microinsurance. There's a range of products. All those products have been finalized and approved by the central bank, so it's really now for the rural banks to take advantage of that and move things forward. The phone companies, I think there's lots of opportunities. I think the future is really digital. I believe that the costs are down very small now, so we're not going to see a lot of branches in the future. I believe it will be, you'll see much more branchless banking in the sense that banks will partner with third parties, just like we're seeing with the example of Banco, which I shared earlier, is that you can open up a lot of outlets very quickly without having to open up physical locations, and people could at least open up a basic account. They can find out where to get a loan. The banks, just like it's like HSBC and Citibank. They open up 250,000 or 500,000 credit cards very quickly. They didn't have any branches. They just outsourced it to third parties. Why can't rural banks do the same thing? It's really just training and partnering with others and learning how to do that to really broaden your deposit base. And I believe we look at countries like Kenya today. Kenya was behind the Philippines in terms of financial inclusion. Today, 73% of Kenyans have a bank account, and only 23% of Filipinos, or not a bank, it should be a financial account. What they did in Kenya is the mobile money has replaced bank accounts. Yes. So everybody pays everything through the phone today, M-Pesa. And so the banks that at first didn't want to partner with the mobile money issuers have to, because it's become the poor man's debit card. It's the way people now buy and trade and do everything through their phone. So the banks have had to work with the phone companies to be able to access that network. And it's phone companies that reach 90 million subscribers in the Philippines. That's huge. If we only have 30 million bank accounts and 90 million subscribers, that's 60 million phone subscriptions out there, and the majority, probably 40, 50 million, that don't have a bank account that the rural banks can tap into. That's a huge number of people. And I think that the mobile technology is going to be one of the easiest ways. So I believe that's the future. Rural banks now just have to keep working at it, work together. Individually, you can't do it. You have to work as a united front, which is what the president said in his speech, the incoming president, Attorney Junjun Garcia, and I believe in that. I think it's been wonderful working here, and I think the rural banks have a very bright future. They just have to, work, continue to work together, and the future will be bright.
And my last question is, are there any challenges in implementing MABS that have been addressed, and how can RBAP improve in its implementation?
Okay. I think, the RBAP MABS program is really based on the strength of the rural banking industry as a whole. Okay, so I think it's important for the association and the members to realize, again, strength in unity, strength in numbers. When RBAP is divided, or when the banks are not working together, or they're not, sharing, you have much more difficulty, because if everybody tries to just do their own thing, you'll have, everything going everywhere. So it's important, I think. We found when people were organized, when they worked together, when they shared, and they realized the strength in sharing. It's not just about, I'm trying to just do this for my bank, I don't want anybody to know. Well, I need partners if I want to send money who are doing the same thing in Manila and in Dipolog and in Cebu. Well, I need to invite the bankers from Cebu and Manila down to Dipolog, or we need to share. I think, and we learned a lot from that. So I think, in terms of strengthening it and the lessons learned, it's the importance of unity and not trying to divide RBAP and the members, and for banks to realize the importance of working together collectively, and not everybody trying to be an island. And I think that's the strength of RBAP now and the rural banks. It hasn't always been that way, but I think it has been for most of the time I've been here. And there are challenges, I think, coming forward in terms of, we had a lot of regulatory issues in the past. Those have all been resolved pretty much now. But you'll need to keep that dialogue going with the regulators. Technology is growing very quickly, so what we're doing today will be, not valid tomorrow, so we have to keep up with that. And competition. Technology's made it not only easier for you, but also for the bigger banks. BPI is outsourced. You can open up a savings account in the street corner now at contracted extension agents who just help you fill out a form and 200 pesos, and you have your ATM card. And mine made for the first time open up an account at BPI, because there was no rural bank and it was easy to do, and no minimum deposit balance now. So I think that's, again, the future. And these are the things that rural banks have to focus on, and RBAP